Hello, my name is Natalie Osborne Thomason and this is Ghost Host, and today we're talking about the first crypto. We're not talking about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin or anything like that. We're talking about cryptozoology, so strange out of place animals, which include the yowie in Australia, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, the Loch Ness Monster. In the UK, we've got strange, they call them ABCs, alien big cats, which mean strange, like large cats like pumas, lions, things like that roaming about in the countryside. The beast of Bodmin, things like that. Now, in my lifetime, I've had experience of seeing 3 cryptids. So the first cryptid was probably about 24 years ago. There was, in the local paper, the Chronicle and Echo, there were sightings of a large black cat, puma-like cat, wandering about near Halston Firs, wandering about in villages and things like that. And I had a really large garden. It was about ½ an acre and it was like an L-shaped, and right at the bottom was raspberries and green beans and things. So it must have been during the summer. And I went with my daughter Becky with a bowl to gather some raspberries, and as we came up to the raspberry bushes, I noticed that there was a black animal laying underneath the raspberry canes, and I thought, oh, it must be my dog, because I had a black Labrador. And I suddenly realised the eye colour was different, and this animal had just woken up, and it stood up, and it was like a black cat, I would say like a puma-like thing. I screamed, and I dropped my bowl, picked up my daughter and ran inside the house, and lots of people managed to get its footprints. Lots of people saw it in Northamptonshire. So that's the first one. The second one was basically one night I was coming back from seeing my daughter who lived in Duston. I was driving back to my village and it was late at night. It was a full moon, and so that you could see a lot. A lot more animals seem to come out when there's a full moon. You see barn owls, you see foxes, badgers, things like that. And all of a sudden, as I came over a bridge, I had to slow down. Running in the middle of the road, which took me by surprise, it was right in the middle of the road, was this huge black dog. Now, I know what a Great Dane looks like. I know what most of the big dog species look like, but this looked bigger than anything I'd ever seen, and its eyes were red, and it was just running in the middle of the road. It was aware of me coming at it, and it didn't get out of the way or anything, and I must have been in shock because I kind of swerved, had to go on the verge side a bit to avoid it, looked in the rear view mirror, and there it was. Now, in a lot of stories of people seeing black dogs, that's like a impending doom. There's something bad's going to happen. So I was quite concerned that this black dog that I saw, which didn't seem to be a normal species of dog, the eyes were glowing red. I thought something bad was going to happen. Fortunately for me, it didn't. So that's another case. The last one was about 10 or 12 years ago, and I used to go around the country filming for Extreme Hauntings, and I went with a friend of mine, Danny Brown, and we went to try and find this ruined church which is built back to front, and all kinds of weird things happened there. We couldn't find it, we got a bit lost, and we were in this village, and I was saying to him, God, I don't know where that church, should we just give it up for tonight? And he said yes. And then there was a house in front of us. We came to a T-junction, so there was a house in front of us, and sitting on one of the edges of the wall of the house was this grey creature, which I thought was like a gargoyle. And as I used to collect gargoyles at the time, I thought, oh my God, that's huge, that gargoyle. That must have cost a fortune. All of a sudden, it lifted itself up and flew and swooped in front of the car. Now, if I'd have been on my own, I'd have thought I'd hallucinated. But there was this huge creature, massive. And when its wings flapped, you could hear the flapping, like if you have an umbrella and you push it up and down, like the flapping of the cloth. So that's 3 that I've seen. Now, this is my opinion on cryptids. I think there's more out in the world that we don't know about, in the forests, in the oceans, in the lochs and lakes, and we haven't been everywhere. These creatures are elusive. They hide a lot of the time. Would you want to be found if you were, say, Bigfoot and you were getting on with your life happily? Would you want to hide somewhere, or would you want to come out into the general public? Now, I've included at the end of this bits of footage from various different things. There's the Patterson footage of Bigfoot, which is the most famous in the world. There's a Sasquatch that's been caught on a CCTV. There's some dragon footage. Any creature that is a mythical beast, there's a possibility that once roamed the earth or still does roam the earth. Because, for example, Loch Ness, it goes down so deep that they haven't really explored the whole of Loch Ness. They do a lot of investigations, but I think possibly lake monsters could be types of dinosaurs that aren't extinct. I think dragons, for example, could be types of dinosaurs like pterodactyls that aren't quite extinct. I think Sasquatch Yowie, which is the Australian Sasquatch, could be a type of ape that there's not many of them, and they're very elusive, and they are similar to humans, how they walk on 2 feet and how they interact with each other, and they are curious about us, but they're also scared about us as well, because obviously man is very aggressive. And the amount of footage lately that I've noticed, people catching of these strange creatures on doorbell cams, on their iPhones, on dash cam footage. The police seem to be catching a lot on their dash cams. So I think we're coming to a point now that there's so much evidence of these strange creatures that you can't really say that we know every single creature that's on this earth or flies above the earth or is in the sea. We just don't know. So to me, cryptozoology is something I've always been interested in, possibly because of that sighting of that big black cat. And I honestly don't know what would have happened if my daughter had gone down there on her own. It was much, much bigger than a Labrador. I would say it was a puma or some kind of black cat with eyes that were kind of, I can't describe it. And it was all sleepy. It had just woken up. So yeah, there are things out there. So yeah, this is a subject that needs a lot of discussion, because you just never know. And the best thing you can do is, if you see something like that, try and get good footage of it. Try to, work out what it is. Don't leave your car. That's my advice. If something's out there, do not leave your car. Because if Bigfoot is 9 foot tall on average, you wouldn't want to have a row with him. You wouldn't want to. In fact, just a funny note to end it with. I was on the Weakest Link show about 13 years ago. The reason I went on there is I wanted to raise some money so I could go to Washington State Park to do a camping trip, to go and try and see if I could get evidence of Bigfoot. But obviously I wasn't clever enough to win. I think I came about 4th or 3rd or something. And that was the days when I was fit and well and I'd have been able to go hiking in the woods. So yeah, I thought if I went with an all-female group, Bigfoot may or may not come out of hiding. So yeah, that's my opinion on cryptozoology. I hope you enjoyed this. It's Natalie Osborne Thomason.
G'day everyone, Artist Wayne Dowsand here, and it's time to weigh in on the Bigfoot phenomenon. And today I am analysing a 4K, stabilised and colorised version of the famous Patterson-Gimlin film, the American short motion picture of an unidentified subject which the filmmakers have said was a Bigfoot. The footage was shot in 1967 in Northern California and has since been subjected to many attempts to authenticate or debunk it. Why am I making this video? Well, I'm an Australian artist that has extensively studied human and animal anatomy. I'm a portrait, wildlife and landscape painter, and I've also researched cryptozoology and the paranormal. And I'm going to share with you a story as it was told to me back in the 1980s. That's right, we have our own sightings here in Australia. We don't call them Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Here we call them Yowies. So let's have a look at this famous footage. And these are the things that I noticed when I looked at this creature's walk cycle. And the first thing I noticed were the hands and the arm swing. Because the creature's hands are open until it reaches its peak swing, and then they close, and they only close momentarily before opening again. And it does that at the peak of each swing when its arms swing out in front of its body. And you can see that very clearly in the video footage. There the hand is closed, and then the creature opens its hands as it swings past its thighs. And all the while the wrists are rotating. They are continually rotating. And on top of that, the arms bend. In fact, the arms bend almost 90 degrees at the elbow. Also, the hands on the backward arc of the swing move in a very unhuman-like manner. When you look closely at the locomotion of this creature, it is very unique indeed. Especially for something so large. But at the same time, everything is fluid, and the creature moves quite quickly. Because let's face it, it's huge. Apart from the difficulty of estimating how tall it is, you can easily see how wide the creature is, how thickly muscled it is. And when we take a close look at the way the creature moves its legs, we find that it does so in a rather strange way. The creature lifts its leg off the ground with everything almost at right angles, before swinging its leg out in front of it to take a step forward. And when the creature steps and impacts with the ground, you can see that it is heavy. The muscles move and quiver as they act like shock absorbers. When I looked at some of the frames that
2015, a series of photographs purportedly showing a dead dragon, with fluffy white rabbit fur inside a home in Malaysia began circulating on the internet. The images were frequently shared along with a backstory claiming that a fruit farmer shot the dragon dead, after he discovered that it had been eating his rabbits. Real-life picture of a dragon body washed up on a British beach in 2011. Where was it discovered? Sea dragon discovery was described as being over 30 feet long, and whilst the dragon's body is little more than a skeleton, it is pretty easy to see that it's no ordinary sea creature. Along the Mekong River in Laos and Thailand, the Naga fireballs are a mysterious phenomenon, in which bright reddish balls of light rise from the water and shoot up to 500 feet 150 m into the sky. Locals attribute the spectacle to the fire Naga, or Mekong dragon, a large serpent that is alleged to lurk in the river. Sightings have been linked to a mysterious unidentified oarfish, yet all known species live in deep water marine environments. Plasma orbs and gas bubbles have been suggested as sources of the fireballs, but the true cause remains unknown. The Kongamato is a reported pterosaur-like creature said to have been seen by the people and explorers in the Mwinalunga district's Jundu swamps of western Zambia, Angola and Congo. They are typically described as either red or black in color, with a wingspan of 4 to 7 feet. Biologist Ivan T. Sanderson described a close encounter with a creature alleged to be a Kongamato in the 1930s. In 1956, an engineer, J.P.F. Brown, allegedly saw the creature at Fort Rosebery near Lake Bangweulu in Zambia. He estimated a wingspan of about 3 to 3.5 feet and a beak-to-tail length of about 4.5 feet. It reportedly had a long thin tail, and a narrow head which he likened to an elongated snout of a dog. Referred to as the Alps dragon, the Taitslorm is often described as being a 6 feet long dark scaly creature, with sharp front claws, a feline-like head, nipple-like teeth, and a body that emits poisonous fumes. Following the first reported sighting in 1779, farmers in remote villages complain of a monster attacking livestock. Illustrations of the Tatzelworm subsequently appeared in an 1836 Bavarian hunting guide and an 1841 Swiss almanac. Some think they are Gila monster or the giant salamander. The Brosno dragon, also known as Brosna, is the name given to a lake monster which is said to inhabit Lake Brosno, near Andripol in West Russia. Fishermen say that the underwater world of Lake Brosno has a structure of several levels. From time to time, burbot and yellow perch can be found in the lake. For example, herring can be found in a lake in Pino district in the Tver region. Some consider it strange that sea fish may live in the lake at all. Rumors of a strange, giant creature living in Lake Brosno have existed for several centuries. One legend says that the lake monster scared to death the Tatar Mongol army that headed for Novgorod in the 13th century. It was rumored in the 18th and 19th centuries that the giant creature emerged on the lake surface in the evening, but immediately submerged when people approached.
Subscribe to my channel for more interesting videos. Top 10 Videos World.